Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most exhilarating and nerve-wracking challenges in Dark Souls 3, the Level 1 challenge. That's right, we're starting from scratch and taking on the game with absolutely no upgrades. No better way to test our skills and patience than this. Here we are, right at the beginning, with our hero at Level 1 and ready to face the trials of Lothric. For those who aren't familiar, the Level 1 challenge means we can't use any leveling up at all. No stat boosts, no increased health or stamina, except for rings, of course, as we venture through the dark and perilous world of Dark Souls 3. We'll be sharing tips, strategies, and of course a few moments of triumph and frustration. Ready to see if we can conquer the unforgiving lands of Lothric at Level 1. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and let's get started on this epic challenge. Don't forget to leave your tips and strategies in the comments below for future Souls challenge runs, hopefully Elden Ring's next. I am going to skip Iodex Gundyr because he's the same as any normal run. Just need to dodge and hit, unlike me. Next up we have the second best Outrider Knight boss, out of a total of 2. With simple moves and a banger soundtrack, Vord of the Boreal Valley is a fun beginner-friendly boss. Not much different from his regular fight. My advice would be to be wary of the charge and make sure to get the lightning resin. Overall, a 6/10 for me. We also introduce our main weapon for the run here, the broadsword. It's simple, quick and easy to use. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record the curse-rotted Great Wood as he died so quickly that I forgot to record. Once you get the obvious gimmick, he can barely last more than a minute, kind of like me. With a newly upgraded +4 and raw infused broadsword, we fight the Crystal Sage. The more I do this fight, the more I hate it. In a normal run, it can be somewhat annoying to get combo-ed to death by the clone's magic. However, you can usually kill it in a few attempts without issue or frustration. Both times that I have fought him at Level 1 have made me irrationally angry. The best advice would be to be lucky. I have seen other people find ways to manage the Sage's teleports to help shield themselves from some of the clones, but I have not had any success in doing so. The Deacons of the Deep are the second out of 3 bosses that I don't have footage of. At least got this screenshot right at the end. Weirdly enough, this fight has warmed up on me over the years. One thing to remember is to stock up on alluring skulls. It makes the swarm much easier to navigate. After a long wait and trek in the trademark poison swamp of every FromSoft game, we finally make it to the first Lord of Cinder, the Abyss Watchers, finishing off the early game with a bang. This fight truly showcases the strengths of the new, faster combat and better rolls, with the audio of swords clashing before you enter, to the cutscene displaying the inner conflict, and to top it all off, the moveset resembling Artorias, the Abyss Walker, indicating a connection. This is one of the best aspects of Souls storytelling, along with the first challenging and spontaneous moveset. Luckily for us, this After running around the catacombs for a bit, we make to the goofiest boss of the run, being the easiest boss with the same mechanics as the Great Wood, but now with the instant death mist. Not much to say except the setup and reveal of the boss are interesting. Have fun. From this point on, we're going to sequence break for a while. Instead of going through Irithyll of the Boreal Valley like intended, we will go for an early dancer fight. Although this fight is accessible as soon as you leave the graveyard, I decided this was the optimal point to get it over with, as I have the max weapon upgrade level of +7, which is available till this fight. The Dancer of the Boreal Valley also blocks progression towards the materials for the next upgrade levels. Access to Lothric Castle is also crucial for an item that will be a massive help for the rest of the run. Now on to the Dancer. This fight is simply a work of art. The graceful movement of the Dancer reels you into its rhythm, and its long combos will have you sweating. To this day, I have not fully understood the second phase attack patterns. This was also the first of many walls on my playthrough of this game. It still took me close to an hour to beat her this time. Now, I want to go over my planned build for this run. The weapon is obviously the broadsword that I have been using up till now. I have equipped the Grass Crest shield in my offhand for faster stamina regeneration. I am two-handing my weapon as the loss in attack speed is not compensated equally by an increase in damage. Basically, the DPS is lower. For the 4 rings, I have chosen the Lloyd Shield ring to increase survivability, the Lloyd Sword ring and Flynn's ring for damage, and the Chloranthy ring for even faster stamina regeneration. The Chloranthy ring will be replaced soon. Right now, I am entering the ashes of a Ryandal deck to get a Titanite slab for the max +10 broadsword. The next boss is the optional fight of Osiris, the Consumed King. He is one of the bosses which practically requires you to play around with your build at level 1, due to the random charges that he does frequently. Surprisingly, I don't hate this fight, even though it has all the qualities to make it insufferable. I have gotten quite adept at predicting his erratic movements and charges. The crying invisible baby also makes it especially memorable. After going through a rather obvious yet iconic from soft hidden wall, we get to the hidden areas with possibly the greatest lore significance of all. You have to love Miyazaki for putting the most insane, lore-shattering pieces of content behind an illusory wall. This area has always given me mixed feelings. On one hand, it proposes many questions about the past, present, and future of Firelink Shrine. While this is interesting, it does seem to be a bit empty overall. To be honest, I do enjoy the inclusion of a horror-like area, as it adds something unique to look forward to. Now, onto the boss. Here we have a rematch with the man himself, our very first boss encounter. Champion Gundyr is perhaps the most engaging and fast-paced encounter yet. Similar to Pontiff Sylvan, Gundyr leaves no room for error. However, unlike the Pontiff, he seems to be designed to be approached in an entirely different manner, instead of dodging each combo and being rewarded with an opening. Gundyr encourages you to find attack openings between his stabs and sweeps. This gives you the initiative in finding your attack openings depending on your specific weapon and positioning. Now, we will throw it out the window as we chain parry and riposte. I believe it insane that such a nuanced fight can be simplified to pressing 2 buttons in quick succession. Overall, one of the best fights the base game has to offer. At this point, we have completed our build with the final piece being the Prisoner's Chain that we transpose from Gundyr's soul. We also pick up the Hornet Ring for Pontiff, the fight of whom I unfortunately lost footage of. Now, I will clean up all the remaining optional bosses, first of which being the Old Demon King, as the name suggests. This is just some random old guy, being one of the most forgotten bosses. It is a very simple and straightforward fight, being made doubly easier due to our over-leveled equipment. One thing to note is that this boss has many one-shots at level 1. This becomes more frustrating once he starts his second phase. The Rings of Fire can be safely avoided by simply running. Rolling is also viable in a normal run, but I would like to avoid the risk altogether. Other attack to look out for would when he sprays fire right below him. This had gotten me killed countless times before. Apart from these, the boss is mostly a slow, simple, and easy fight. Quick note. Be sure to avoid the arrows and the worm on the way to the boss. Remember, there is a bonfire to the right of the boss room. For the final optional area, we need to use the Path of the Dragon gesture near the dragon statues in the Aerothil dungeon. Yes, I won't pretend that I figured this out on my own. Another certified Miyazaki classic, similar to the hidden area near Commander Gaius's boss Fog. Either way, the first boss here is the Ancient Wyvern. Not sure what to say here. I don't hate the boss, but also don't have any particular feelings either. Kind of just okay. I run around him, run away from the lizard men. Then take the plunge. The only thing to keep in mind would be to ensure his head is down. When you jump, and it's easy to glitch it, and dive fall damage. Next up, we have possibly the most difficult base game fight in all of Dark Souls 3, the Nameless King. Apart from the difficulty, the boss is also exceptionally well designed in terms of visuals, from ringing the bell to summoning, to his entrance, riding on his chicken, the King of Storms. The Nameless King has everything going for him. He has the aura and feel of an actual threat, while also having dynamic moves and a difficult rhythm to complement, although I believe this to be a great fight technique. I do get quite frustrated when I fight him at level 1. I am by no means good at this fight. As you can see from the gameplay, I am taking the safest windows and bringing out all the stops to beat him. I would say that if you become comfortable with his moveset, it will likely cut the length down to half of what you're seeing. Overall, a welcome addition. And I'm glad I got it out of the way early. This fight forces you to stop dodging instinctively and instead read the enemy. This allows you to slow down the fight and make it more enjoyable. The delayed attacks may give the animation a certain level of weight, yet don't look too long or forced. The only tip for success would be to stay calm and not dwell on mistakes. Looking forward and anticipating the next attack will not only make the fight bearable, but fun as well. perceptive ones among you may have noticed that I skipped Pontiff, Salivon, and went straight to Aldrich. Unfortunately, I lost all footage of the fight. I do remember him taking only a handful of attempts. My thoughts on Pontiff would be that he is hard to fight but fun to understand. Of course, parrying makes him much easier. He is still learnable without it. Unlike popular belief, he does give you sufficient leeway between combos, as I was only left alive on a sliver of health multiple times during my winning attempt. Onto Aldrich the Devourer of Gods. This is one of the few underwhelming bosses in the late game. All the way from my first encounter with him, I was very disappointed with the moveset, ranging from easy, slow swipes that always miss, to one-shot arrow rain with magic missiles being thrown around. Despite my harshness towards this boss, I don't hate it entirely. Having Aldrich even in its flawed form is still better than it not existing at all, in my opinion. The boss with the most health points out of any boss in Dark Souls 3. Yhorm the Giant is the same at level 1, except you might die in one hit from many of his attacks. Fortunately, he only takes 5 hits to kill with the Storm Ruler. This fight can basically be scripted, due to the easy staggers. Not much else to it. Now we get into the faster, more precise fights. The Dragon Slayer armor has many quick attacks mixed with slow axe swings. His ability to block your attacks is unique and fun, as long as he doesn't turtle. His axe and shield combos keeps you on your toes. In his second phase, delayed attacks keep you focused. The best strategy for bosses here onwards would be to simply learn the moveset. Onto the crippled twins. Lorien and Lothric. The Twin Princes fight is the peak of Dark Souls 3 boss design and creativity. Apart from the Delk, no boss feels as fun to learn. Apart from being an absolute banger of a fight, it also succeeded in leaving an imprint on From Software's future bosses. This can be most prominently seen in the teleporting of Consort Radon and the Elden Ring wreck, and of course the brothers riding each other apart as well. the only boss I want to skip on any future runs. The champions Grave Tender and Grave Tender Great Wolf. This fight is the bane of my existence, causing nearly 25% of my total boss deaths. This will forever be the worst, least fun boss in the game. Just the fact that it's a gank fight with becomes another gank midway through makes it unbearable. I have no tips for this, as I cannot survive another second thinking of this fight.
Forgive me, my lady.
The boss touted as the hardest in from soft history by some. Sister Fried has never been as difficult as bosses like Orphan of Kos, Ishin, or Malenia. Once you can see all the clear punish windows she allows, the first and third phase feel quite manageable. The second phase is usually a hit or miss. Overall, once you get the confidence to face her and the stamina to focus till the last phase, the fight can be trivialized. To start off the second deck, we have another duo boss, but this time being actually fun. Even though I am very bad at the Demon Prince boss fight, I still have a lot of fun struggling to beat them. Being able to perfectly predict and dodge all the attacks and still finding openings amid the chaos are very rewarding. The second phase is not any worse, adding to the original move set depending on who you kill first, and giving the demon more vertical moves adds the wow factor to the encounter. Starting off the final boss, Rush of the Run, Half-Light Spear of the Church, is another annoying NPC boss. This time, not because I died too often, but because it takes too long to fight him safely. The insane attack speed and projectile spam forced me to fight him by abusing a single move. There might be other ways, but I found this the safest and least sweaty way to engage with him. predecessor of Bale the Dread. Dark Eater Midder is the dragon to remember, the only time you aren't forced to go for the legs. The clever design of his moves, which are substantially easier if you simply walk back, combined with the soul lock on point being his head. This fight gives you the thrill of actually facing off against a towering beast. Also, almost got the hitless. The Soul of Cinder is a fun, challenging, and weird final battle. It forces you to learn 5 total bosses in one. This can give different experiences to different play styles. Some people hate it, most seem to like it. I have mixed feelings overall. The magic and sword phases are easy enough to handle, but the spear and pyromancer can be a handful. On a normal level, he is very fun, but at level 1 you need to be a bit more careful, or sweaty. The second phase is much more chill. With a more simple attack pattern, the Gwent phase is, in my opinion, the best phase. Overall, a high note to end on. Finally, we reach the end of the world for Dark Souls 3, both canonically and as the final boss released for the game. Slave Knight Gale is perhaps the greatest fight in gaming history, not because of moveset or graphics, but because of the weight it holds as the definitive finale to such a beloved and critically acclaimed piece of art. Along with all that, it also ends the Dark Souls experience with a bang, with distinct phases showing his fall to madness, with the increasing flashiness of his moves, and of course one of the greatest soundtracks. The Slave Knight gives a satisfying goodbye to the franchise, as From Software moves on to new endeavors.
The first flame quickly fades. Darkness will shortly settle. But one day, tiny flames will dance across the darkness. Like embers linked by Lord's Pass.
Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.